Hey everybody, David Levenstein. Back to business on 103.9 LA News Radio, and the business at hand is income for the rest of your life. I have Neil Himmelstein here with me, and he is the host of the Main Street Code to Financial Success. You can listen to every Friday at 3 p.m. Neil, help us. Help us. Help us.
Help you.
Help. There is uncertainty in the future, as there always is, right?
Always is.
Now, the market, generally speaking, if you step back and take a snapshot, it always looks like it goes up. But you zoom in, and it does have its peaks and valleys and things like that.
Right.
And during those periods of time in your life, you don't know. Am I working and contributing? Am I retired? Do I need the money? Do I not need the money? There's no way to time the market to work for you.
Correct.
It always seems to work out adversely. When I need the money, the market's down. When I don't need the money, the market's up.
Right.
You know, and that's the way it really should be. But you need to prepare yourself. So while you are hosting your show, I was in the control room, and I was looking at some websites doing some like annuity calculations, and I realized that what I need, and I discussed it with my kids, is a job with a pension. And if you don't have a job with a pension, you got to create one for yourself, and that's really what you are expert at.
100%.
Explain.
So you can create your own pension with an annuity or life insurance,
right?
And
that's how they do it.
Yeah,
that's how the unions do it. That's how companies that offer pensions do it.
That's how the lottery works. That's how, if you get a settlement from an injury, you'll have an option of getting a lump sum of money or taking an income stream.
Right.
And that annuity is an income stream.
Right.
And that income stream, you could set it up for your lifetime. So if you have a long life and you think you're going to live to 120, I actually heard a study the other day that they feel that the people now being born with medical science the way it is could live to 150. 150.
The growing...
it's amazing.
The newest and fastest growing population in this country is those people over 100. First of all, living 150 years, are we going to be that lucky? Is that do we?
I don't know if that's luck or not, to be honest with you.
I don't know, 150
Depends
years.
on the quality of our life,
We have a bunch of young guys behind the booth over there.
But here's the problem.
They may live to 150 years old. Mike, you're going to live to 150.
I doubt it.
No, he doesn't think so. All right, whatever.
No, but you know what?
But it's possible.
So here's the problem.
Sure.
If you really think you're going to live that long, or even 120, or even 105, even 100.
100.
The biggest fear people have today
is outliving their money.
Running out of money.
So let me ask you a question.
Running out of income. It's not the lump sum money. People win the lottery and they lose their money. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not protecting their expenses. They're not used to handling money.
Years ago, I was a financial planner before I came to the radio, and I had one client that did win the lotto. He had $14 million. He gave some to his family. He gave some to charity. He bought a house. He bought a car. He built a pool. He bought a house in the Amish country, Pennsylvania, and I don't know why, but he loves it there. And within 3 years, he had nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
That's very common.
He had one house in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Very common. It happens. It happens more than it doesn't. How about that? It happens more times than it doesn't happen.
So how do we help these people?
So
not just these people. Because winning the lotto is a
you win the lotto with some of your assets. You want to create an income for yourself to cover your expenses.
Okay, so you have a 401k. You're working for a company for 20, 25 years. You have this 401k. They've been matching, which if you're not investing in your 401k and taking the match, you're missing the boat. That's 100% return on your money.
Yep.
Guaranteed. So they have that. They have the match. You've been working there for 25 years. You turn around and say, holy cow, I have $585,000. I'm now 67 years old.
Right.
I have that money. I have my house. Hopefully your mortgage is paid off at this point. And I have some Social Security.
Right.
I've been maxing my Social Security payments out. I'm 67. I can get $2,900 a month on my Social Security.
Right.
But I'm making $100,000 a year now. So something's got to give, right?
Right.
So I have all this money. How can I replace my income? What's the best and safest way to do that?
To buy an immediate annuity.
Right. With your 401k money, which you're not going to be taking
out
all
of it.
Right.
Some of it.
Some of it.
Some of it you want to cover some expenses.
Right.
And, not all of it. We had a woman who, she recently passed, but she was living in assisted living.
Yeah.
And well-to-do, lived in Great Neck, sold her house for like $700,000 and moved into this assisted living. She lived well into her late 90s.
Right.
And she went into a condo thing, and I think their bill was $5,000 a year for condo fees or whatever it was at the time. This is going back 15 years. Yeah. Well, with $100,000 of her gain, we bought an immediate annuity that covered her expenses.
Right.
She didn't have to think about that.
Right.
She kept living for another 20, 30 years, and she knew those expenses were paid.
Right. So that $500-$600 a month, never had to worry about it.
Then with the bulk of her money, we put in very conservative investments. She's very comfortable. She really didn't need it. She ended up gifting most of it out over time, but she knew her living expenses were taken care of, and her legacy was preserved with the other assets. Everything, so it was done. So the problem with people who only invest in real estate, who only do that, is when you said they might need the money, and what do? They sell a house. Right. What's the worst time to sell a property?
When you need to.
When you need to.
When you need to.
Exactly.
So let me ask you a question.
Or any asset.
So then what are the objections you hear from people who say, I don't want to buy an annuity? Is it because they just don't know what an annuity is? Or they heard so many commercials about don't buy annuities, like from Susie Orman or people like that?
Yeah, they're resistant, but what they don't realize is it's hard to see 2 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out. We can, because we have the experience in the industry. Right. We can see the future. We've seen the past. We've seen the future. We've seen the good times, and we've seen bad times. Right. And unless you have that bird's eye view, it's very hard to see yourself 5 years ahead. I mean, if 10 years ahead.
People are living healthier lifestyles, they're becoming vegans, they're exercising. Their hope is to live longer.
Right.
That's what they want to do.
If that's the case, they need to prepare.
They need to prepare to be able to afford. You got to be able to afford to live longer. Right. Otherwise, stop smoking cigarettes and eating unhealthy.
And I find that people in that situation, they are scared to take their retirement money. Do you know what? They're actually scared to touch it. Do you know why?
No.
They know every penny they touch is going to be taxed. And they don't want taxes.
So tell me, let's talk about that.
Right.
So if someone has their money in a 401k and they're going to take half of it and roll it into an immediate annuity, first of all, is that moving of the money, is that a taxable event?
It's a non-taxable event.
That's what they think.
Is taxable?
They think they take all that money out of annuity and they're going to be taxed as ordinary income.
Correct.
But that's not the case.
You're only taxed on the income.
On the income. So if you roll over,
if it's 401k money,
go ahead.
It will be taxed as ordinary income
when it comes out.
Now, if it's non-qualified money you have from some other source,
it's already been taxed.
Then what an annuity does, you can buy an immediate annuity with that as well.
Yeah.
And what that does, it's only partially taxed on the income, because what the government does, they have tables. It's set up on your mortality. So the older you are, the less tax.
So basically,
because it returns principal and interest. So the interest is very small.
So if it's not a 401k that they've been investing in, just a regular investment account,
right?
The money that's already been taxed. For example, your initial investment has already been taxed, and every year you're paying capital gains, right, on the realized gains. So you've been taxed on that already. So the money that you'll be taking out for income, which will last you for the rest of your life, generally speaking, is tax-free.
Correct.
Right. For the most part.
Right.
I mean, there's some unrealized gains, but would that be taxed as income, or would that be taxed as long-term capital gains?
As income.
As income.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the government knows that's not all tax. So is it best then to move your qualified money into an immediate annuity, or just whatever you have, really?
Let's talk about it. So. Okay. With some of your qualified money, the big objection to somebody buying an immediate annuity from my 401k, I wanted that money to go to my kids. So in that situation, we highly recommend you take that income and take a small portion and replace it with something that's going to go to your kids tax-free.
Life insurance.
Correct. The annuity, the 401k, is taxed twice. Income taxable,
right?
And it's part of your estate as potentially estate taxable.
Now, but generally speaking, when people retire, they're older, so insurance could cost more money than they can afford now because of just, even if they're healthy, their age, right?
But with the amount of income you can take out of that portion of the annuity,
yeah,
you still can have, let's say, a 4% after paying for the insurance,
right,
income, over and above,
right,
4 to 5%
that you cannot outlive.
That you can't outlive.
That you can't outlive.
In addition to protecting that asset tax-free to your heirs.
So basically,
I've turned, let's say I had $500,000.
Okay.
And I take out $100,000.
Okay.
And I buy this immediate annuity.
Okay.
Okay. And let's say I'm going to get 4% of 500, which is
$20,000 a year.
$20,000 a year.
Right.
Out of that $20,000 a year, maybe after me buying life insurance to actually replace that asset.
Sure.
So maybe I'll get $25,000 out of the year, and the life insurance is $5,000 for that $100,000.
Gotcha.
So I'm still getting that $20,000 a year.
5%, so $25,000.
So I'm still getting that, but now I've taken an asset.
Right.
That now with the new Secure Act, my heirs will have to take out over the next 10 years of taxable money. Plus, it's estate taxable. I could conceivably give up 80% of that asset.
So you can take the money, put it into immediate annuity, get more income than you would get in any other investment, and take the excess and buy life insurance to replace the money that went into the immediate.
Tax-free.
And it goes tax-free to your heirs.
Correct.
And because it's a beneficiary tax, it avoids probate and everything goes right to the heirs.
Huge.
Right. So, so the annuity income dies with you, but your heirs, your spouse, your children, whoever you want to leave it to, will get not the remainder, but the replacement value of that money.
Right. And you can also structure an annuity to have lifetime income,
right,
but also have a refund if you don't live long. So you can hedge your bet. So they have refund annuities, what they call a refund annuity. So if I put in $100,000,
right,
and I took out income for 2 years, and all of a sudden, this would last me 14 years of income.
You'll get the $100,000.
The remaining balance
minus
would go to the heirs.
Right, minus what you took out. Right. Plus, they would get the insurance that you've been paying for.
Right, if you bought the insurance as well.
Right, if you bought the insurance as well. Right, plus you get the insurance you pay for.
I mean, you can almost double your money.
Well,
if you don't live.
Well, yeah, for your heirs, yeah.
But you know what? You're hedging your bet on every side of the equation.
Right.
What happens if I live too long? What happens if I die too soon?
Sure.
And then we always want to protect what happens if something happens along the way with either disability income protection or long-term care insurance.
I have met many seniors nowadays, like my parents' age, things like that, who never thought about these things. And now one spouse passes away, they run out of money, then all they have left is a little bit of Social Security.
Right.
And a lot of seniors are living below a healthy income level because of not planning ahead. And planning upon a moment in time that is inevitable is important. And I'm not talking about just buying life insurance, leaving it to somebody else. I mean, it's inevitable that you're going to retire. It's inevitable that you're not going to want to work, or no one's going to want to hire you because of your age. It's inevitable that you may not be able to work. All these things are inevitable, and you need to prepare yourself for this inevitability by buying an annuity and preparing yourself for disability, because you have a greater chance of becoming disabled than having a premature death. So these are all things that people need to consider when planning for their future.
Absolutely.
And annuities and insurance, these are actual asset classes that any really responsible financial advisor would advise you to buy. And your clients are financial advisors, generally speaking, right?
Generally speaking, they're financial advisors.
And the reason why they are financial advisors is because their clients have been educated and understand the importance of how insurance and how annuities work within their investment portfolio. Explain that further.
So I work with some clients. 90% of what I do is I'll have agents that reach out to me because I represent 30 different insurance companies, completely independent, not career bound by anyone.
Right.
And
by the way, that's very important.
Oh, I have a bird's eye view of everything.
To working with Neil, who is an independent, he is not obligated to sell any one insurance company's products.
Right.
He can shop the universe of products available to you and find the right one that fits your lifestyle, right?
And that's exactly what I do every day, twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
because I'm a wholesaler for these products. So in other words, if I worked for, we'll use a company that's not really working right now, MetLife or Mass Mutual or Northwestern, I typically would mostly be selling their product.
Sure.
I'm rewarded for selling their product, and I'm going to, with a lack of a better word, push their product because I get pats on the back or rewards for doing that.
Sure. If you were an Allstate customer
or an office, right,
or a State Farm or something, and you work through them, they're going to sell you their products, generally speaking.
However, and some of their products are excellent and may be perfect for you.
And they
may be the best.
They are. They
may be the best. However, not always.
Yeah.
Not for every individual. Every individual's got a different thing going. As I talk about all the time is we offer choice. So maybe a whole life is too expensive and you want something less expensive, but you're concerned about the death benefit, not the cash buildup.
Right.
Maybe the cash buildup is better in the whole life, but the death benefit's much cheaper by buying another type of policy.
Do people not like talking about life insurance because they're talking about their demise, right?
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
But again, educated people who understand that prepare. You know, the people that want to talk to you are the ones that are facing a tragedy. And that's when they want to talk to you. As a matter of fact, my attorney, who does a lot of estate planning,
They should be talking to you about life insurance when they're young and healthy.
This year and last year were his best years ever for what? Medicaid planning, for elder planning.
Sure. Okay.
Because people are now panicking.
Right.
Okay, oh my God, I see the future because the future is 6 months away.
Right.
Now I'm going to plan.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't it be easier to have planned 2 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? No, but this is his big business right now is emergency planning. Oh my God, my husband's going in. I got to move my assets around. There's new laws. There's this, there's that.
Yeah. And now everyone is panicking and needs it now.
You don't need to panic.
Right.
Now, what I recommend to people,
it's like what I said before. You don't need to panic because this we knew about this time coming in our life for years.
Right.
And we've seen our grandparents. We've seen our parents.
And the
What?
And the
Really?
biggest thing I see, and it happens over and over every day to people in my own family. Communicate with your parents. Communicate with your children. Let everybody know where things are, what's going on, how to take care. When I talk to younger people, I always want to find out what's the deal with their parents.
Sure.
So important. I mean, what's going to happen if mom breaks a hip? Are you going to run to whatever state mom's in and quit your job and leave your children here?
Yeah.
Or you can take your children with you? How about your husband? Well, he's got a job. He's got to work. I say that only because typically it's the women who do the multiple roles in society, in this society, that are the caregivers of the world, and I thank them. But they're also earning a living for their families.
Right.
And how impactful it is if your mother or father didn't plan and you're the option.
Right.
And of course, we all feel an obligation to help our parents.
Yeah, but we don't want to be, as a parent right now, myself, I don't want to be a burden on my children.
And that's the other thing. You don't want to be a burden, okay? But so you have to plan.
Right.
And for the child, he needs to talk to his parents. What kind of planning have you done? What are your plans? You need to know, as part of the sandwich generation, one who has kids and has parents, you need to know what your options are. What will happen not just with my kids and me personally? What's going to happen if something happens to my parent? Now, look how the kids get involved.
Yeah.
I can't leave my kids, or my kids are in college. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. But the biggest problem you have today is communication.
Right.
And the biggest problem you have today is that the family unit's not like it used to be. Everybody lived in the same house. You had 3 generations in the same house. You had grandma, ma. Now,
like you and I, we have kids all over the country.
Yeah, my daughter's in Hawaii. My son's in Denver.
Yeah.
And I'm the youngest of 5 boys. We lived in New York, Arizona, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and my parents lived in Baltimore.
Right. I have a similar situation.
Yeah.
My family's all over the country. We don't communicate like the previous generation when everyone lived above the store, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
And that's a big financial dilemma that people need to address.
Right. I think people need to address it.
And good planners are going to do that.
And by the way, I think asking your parents about, do you have enough life insurance, or do you have life insurance? Do you have anything to leave me to help me move along to the next part of my life is I don't think it's a unreasonable or offensive question. Do you?
It could be difficult.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much life insurance, but what happens if you need care? What are your plans?
Well, yeah.
Do you have a plan?
Right.
Do you have a plan? Oh, my plan is... Well, that's not... Sometimes it's not a plan.
I asked my parents if they had a life insurance policy that if one of them goes before the other, enough money for me to help whoever the survivor is
right.
in an assisted living, a nursing home, or myself, things like that. And thank God, knock on wood, they did.
Right.
So, and that money is being used right now, my dad passed, to help my mother.
That's terrific.
And that unfortunately, that's the extent of their planning. But without that, it would be extraordinarily hard.
Yep.
Neil, thank you. My name is David Levinstein. I'm talking to Neil Himmelstein. Listen to him every Friday at 3 p.m. on the Code to Financial Success. The Code to Financial Success. Excuse me. Swallow my words there. That's every Friday at 3 right here on 103.9 Atlantis Radio.
Another one bites the dust.